What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday. We got some fun stuff to talk about today, Eric. We got Summer League, but also we got a Dame tweet that he liked, which will be interesting to talk about regarding Jody Allen and Phil Knight and him wanting the team sold. Here, I'll fix your camera, Eric. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I see you moving the camera. I got you. There, now you're centered. Perfect. Hopefully everybody's having a good day today. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their Thursday. We're in a weird portion of the offseason. You know, Summer League game number 4. Hopefully you enjoyed the Summer League game today. I'll be honest, I haven't been able to watch it. I was busy. Want to do live streams for everyone, but both me and Eric were busy the past 2 days, so unfortunately weren't able to live up to that. But we'll live stream game 5 of the Summer League. We'll see when that is. That is yet to be scheduled. But we'll talk a little bit about that. But also we're at the point in the offseason where like this Dame stuff has set in. And who knows what's next? Because this could drag out, as Cronin said, for months. And we talked about that in our last stream. But there was a tweet like an hour before the stream started that I thought, oh, what a perfect title for a stream. Because we basically, as much as you can read into a tweet, we got confirmation that Damian Lillard wants changes of ownership, Eric. So we're going to discuss that. And that's going to be fun because we want that as well. Anyway, before we jump into things, how's your Thursday?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Hello, everyone in chat. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope your day is going well.
What's up, Eric? What's up, Elizabeth? What's up, Steven? What's up, Parker? Hopefully you guys are all having a good day. Let's just I don't know. Do you want to talk about Summer League first, Chad? Do you want to talk about the tweets? Also hit that like button. I want to drag this out. Actually, a perfect way to drag it out. This stream is sponsored by BetOnline. Use the promo code BELIEVE for a 50% discount. No, a 50% reward bonus. Why'd I say discount? That's the first time I've ever done that after all these ad reads for BetOnline. So that's the first. Anyway, thank you to BetOnline for sponsoring Blazers Uprise Live. You can get in on all your betting action that you want with that promo code BELIEVE. Okay, let's jump into it. So, I'm just going to read off the tweet, Eric, and I'll let you kind of give your thoughts on it, and then I'll give my thoughts, and then chat will, of course, give their thoughts, and that's what this is going to be. So, Damian Lillard liked a tweet from just some random guy. If you're that random guy, sorry for calling you some random guy, but in this situation with Damian Lillard, you're just a random guy. Got almost 300 likes on the tweet, though, so that's pretty good. From Daniel Red Elk, he just tweeted, at Trailblazers, please sell to Phil Knight. He'll talk Damian Lillard into staying and doesn't care about going into the luxury tax. Please sell to him. Hell, the Seahawks are already there. Please don't let Portland suffer. We'd like to see Damian Lillard win a title here in hashtag PDX. Damian Lillard liked that tweet. So, I don't know how much you want to read into that, but it's interesting that he liked a tweet saying, basically telling Jody Allen to sell the team to Phil Knight. Mm-hmm. Did you have any thoughts on that, or did that just confirm what you already kind of knew, Eric?
Well, I've been, saying that he's not happy with the front office, and this is not the path that he wants to go down. But they pretty much left him no choice. So this all lines up with them not being willing to make a trade that Dame had lined up for them. And the reason for that is Jody, after years of telling Dame when it came time she would financially commit to winning, basically pulled the cord on that and said she wasn't willing to go in the tax. So all these players, like right now, Pascal Siakam seems like he's available, right? The Blazers could go get him. And unless Jody switches up again, she basically has told the Blazers that they can move, or Cronin and stuff, that they can make moves, but she's not gonna pay Siakam on top of Grant and Dame and everyone else next summer. So, Dame pretty much was like, what the heck, because part of I told you guys this before free agency. There was three things to look for. One was re-signing Grant, obviously, which did happen, and we thought that was a good first step. Two, they needed to bring in some vets, whether that's trades or free agents or both. They did none of that. And the third one was they had to show that they were kind of financially committed, which probably meant going into the tax or at least not making moves purely based on financial decisions and making moves that were towards winning and building the best possible roster. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be stupid and like go like Golden State Warrior level into the tax. But if you're already concerned about the tax level this year, when you were told that the last couple of years ducking the tax and tanking were strictly to set up the repeater tax from not happening for a few more years, clearing that, resetting that. That was the messaging he got from up above. And then fast forward to this summer, not only did they not fulfill the promise of, trading the pick versus keeping it, but then they also are refusing to basically do anything that will potentially put them deep into the tax in future years. And most of the players we've been talking about, whether it's OG, Siakam, Jaylen Brown, those type of players are all, what do they have in common? They all have contract things that need to be cleared up next summer or extended this year, right? So in a perfect world, the perfect trade would be someone like a Mikal Bridges, who is under a contract for 3 more years. You could get him, basically Ant's contract matches him, and you could find a way to stay under the tax and make both parties happy. But this is the problem, and why when you hear Cronin say things like, "Oh, well, we scoured the market and nothing was available," it's because nothing was available in their very limited parameters for doing anything. And so the thing is, Dame's pissed because he just feels lied to because they've been telling him for years now that when it got to this point they would commit, and they didn't.
So with all this, do you think we've maybe been... Is there a chance we've been too hard on Cronin because it really truly is just the ownership group being that cheap? Which we've always understood is a part of this, right?
Yeah, he doesn't like Cronin either because he could have made moves to bring in vets instead of like Cam Reddish and stuff, he didn't have to. Yeah,
basically, so I want to word this my way. So Jody set the margins and they're very strict, right? So shame on her. But then Cronin didn't do the best job. Cronin didn't do a good job working within those margins, so they're both to blame.
Well, I mean, Dame, this is where I feel Dame is at. Dame is obviously, we don't know him personally, but anyone who's watched Dame for the last 11 years knows that he's one of the most, honest and, upfront and transparent, to use Cronin word, superstars that there's been in a long time, especially in a market like Portland. So the fact that Joe has been telling him all this stuff the whole time, I believe he thinks Joe is part of it too, because he's been telling him, they've been talking and he's all about transparency. Well, maybe, Jody pulled one over on Joe too, but I'm pretty sure that Joe knew this whole time that they weren't going to go in the tax, and he's been telling Dame otherwise. So, Dame's thing is even if he was lying for Jody, he was still lying to Dame, and that's not being transparent. That's the opposite of transparent. So, I don't think he's happy with him either.
Yeah. Just asking the questions. I mean, here's what I've said. Like, none of this is surprising. And what I said going into the season, and some of you will probably remember this, is when you see enough of a pattern of behavior from an ownership group or a front office in sports, you should expect that to remain the status quo until they prove you otherwise. You're more likely to be right, assuming the way it's been the past 2, 3, 4 years, whatever, is going to be the way it's going to continue to be.
Yeah.
Compared to all of a sudden is completely switches up, because there's a reason why it's been the way that it's been for so long. Jody Allen is extremely cheap with this team. She runs this team to make a profit. And this offseason, I heard from basically everybody that, oh yeah, well, supposedly Jody's willing to go into the tax. But even people with sources would say it as supposedly, right? Like, I heard that from a few different people I talked to. And I think you even said, like, yeah, so supposedly she's willing to go into the tax is something that you heard, but we knew not to believe it.
I was told Dame, that was one of the things Dame was looking for, is, are they going to financially commit? And that's what I said before free agency, right?
Yeah.
And so to him, that was like not a question. Like, they weren't going to do moves. Like, for example, like the last 3-4 years now, they've had like massive injuries, but they've been right up against the tax, and they haven't been willing to sign someone to even go into the tax for a little bit, and with the premise that they can maybe get under when it came time to get under at the trade deadline or whatever. Like Dame was told that those kind of moves would be like if they needed a backup center in the buyout market, they would go get it this year. Like that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter if they're a little in the tax or not. And so to have the edict that you can't go in the tax again, or they're not going to go in the tax, or not going to trade for someone that they have to pay and potentially have 3 players making, $130 million or whatever, or 4 if Ant's still here. And they saw the lack of this problem with choosing the scoot route, and they knew that this would lead to Dame asking out. So they very clearly valued having a rookie player of Scoot's caliber on a rookie contract and getting salary relief from Dame's contract.
Yeah, which is just pathetic, because, why did they even sign him to extension in the first place? I'm sure it was because it was good optics, right? Look, we're spending on Dame. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a reason why I've been saying for the longest time, in order for things to truly change, this team has to be sold. And, I mean, it's not like I'm the only one saying. I think everybody kind of realizes this, right? I'm not trying to pat myself on the back at all. I just think it's been very, very clear, like, this team is going to be ran like a business that's trying to squeeze every penny out of the business. Now, the problem is with running Dame out of town is I'm not entirely sure that's the best business decision, because they're still going to be paying a decent amount of salary. They're still going to be over the salary cap, right? Like, it would have probably been a smarter business decision to try and figure out a way to stay under the tax and win with Dame, because that's going to fill more seats. If they tank another third of the season, they're not going to sell seats, especially if it's not with the hope that it's for a brighter future around Dame, I mean, Scoot will probably still be playing. I don't know. But this team has shamelessly tanked before. I wouldn't be surprised if Scoot got sat at the end of next season so that they could tank. If he's good enough. Like, there's no lengths that this organization won't go to in order to tank, in order to try and generate a profit. I'm just not sure that the way they've set it up is truly a smart business decision, with alienating part of the fan base, alienating Dame, and they're still going to be over the salary cap unless they save massive amounts of money in a Dame trade.
This is why they feel differently, though. We've talked about this before. One, they went through this with a disgruntled star in Seattle, and that is
Well,
absolutely a factor here.
It's just stupid. That's just stupid,
No,
stupid.
I'm not saying it's not stupid.
I know. I will
It's
just
completely
consistently.
naive and
I know.
stupid,
I know.
but-
I will just say it's stupid constantly because I can't believe that.
But they absolutely won the Russell Wilson trade, right? And
Because Geno Smith is better.
well, I mean, Russell Wilson, I mean, maybe it was Hackett or whatever in Denver, but maybe, he could be washed and not the same QB anymore. And they absolutely fleece Denver if that's the case. And, have a great season, get a bunch of, now people are all excited because they, like most fans thought they were going to be trash last year, but they, end up making a playoff run and played some really exciting playoffs, right? And
I don't know how to believe this because it's
right.
just so.
But that leads me to my next one. They think that like re-signing Grant, re-signing Thibault, and throwing Scoot into Dame's role. They still have Anthony Simons, who they're super high on. They still have Sharp, all that kind of stuff. They think they are going to possibly make a run and come close to the play-in or playoffs like Seattle did last year. So,
I mean, I know I don't need to say why it's stupid, but I will still say why it's stupid. Obviously, it's stupid because it's two completely different sports, and team building is completely freaking different between football and basketball, okay? You have to have 11 people on the field at one time in football, right? And players on offense don't play defense. You got 53-man rosters. You got 13 people active per game for NBA rosters, like 15 total roster spots have to have 14 players, right? Like, it is just much different. One player has a much greater impact, but it's also a stupid comparison because trading Russell Wilson sucked his last year in Seattle. Geno Smith came in and had a better season last year than Russell Wilson did the season before. Dame just had arguably the greatest season in franchise history.
Yeah.
Like, sure, if Scoot Henderson comes in and averages 35 points per game and 10 assists, we're looking good. Yes. But that is basically the equivalent if you want to compare it to Russell Wilson and then Geno Smith. That's the equivalent. Scoot would have to come in and average 35 and 10 because Geno was better than Russ. So I don't really get it. Also, they got a high draft pick this year from the Broncos. In the NFL, like, outside of a couple teams, anything can happen any year. Injuries can completely, ruin a season for an NFL team, even if they have a good roster. Like, things fall apart easier in the NFL, and the Broncos weren't a team that... It was basically, Russell Wilson will take this team from not in the playoffs to maybe contending, whereas, like, you trade Dame to the Heat, they were in the finals last year. You're not getting a high draft pick like the Seahawks got from Russell Wilson. You're just not. And also, the only reason they made the playoffs last year was because they had a historically great draft.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, it's just everything aligned so perfectly in a way that it couldn't even be ever comparable with the Blazers. That's why it's just so ridiculous.
I mean, you think that, but they think their draft they just had with Scoot, Chris Murray, and Repair, that's comparable to...
Stupid.
They got, Seattle got 2 starting offensive linemen in that draft. They got a really top-end corner. They got Kenneth Walker, a good running back. So they had an elite draft, like you mentioned, but they do feel like the Blazers had an elite draft as well, and that they can hit the ground running. And that's
stupid.
That's why you heard the messaging from Cronin. He's not your average 19-year-old. He's already been a pro for 2 years, and Chris Murray is a veteran already. Like that's why you heard that messaging.
I mean, yeah, but like it's just so freaking. It's like if you were the Chiefs and you gave up on Mahomes for pennies on the dollar so you could start Will Levis or some crap. Like, I mean, Scoot is a better prospect than Will Levis if we're gonna compare football to basketball players. Okay, who went number 2 again? I forgot. Oh, Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud.
It's like if the Chiefs trade Mahomes for the second pick and drafted CJ Stroud. Stupid. Just stupid. You like that is just the most brain dead possible thing for an ownership group to think is because they did something in football, they can apply the same thought process to basketball. Like, it's just, I mean, this ownership group is a freaking joke. I don't even, I don't even care to, like, put too much stock into that, because I already think this ownership group is a complete joke. So, I mean, how can you even be more of a joke than they already are? But my goodness.
Yeah, and then, so that's what they think. They're going to win over fans. Scoot and Sharp are going to be exciting. They're going to win games, and they won't, like, ultimately, the fans will come back and be there. But this is what the most important part is. And they did the same thing in Seattle with Russell Wilson. You heard multiple stories about, he was bad in the locker room. He was like off to himself, and he wasn't one of the guys, or he wasn't black enough, or whatever. Like, there was just all kinds of hit pieces on his personality, and he's fake. You heard all that messaging, right? And then they get lucky because Denver was like super hyped going into last season, and they ended up sucking. So it actually played out perfectly for them. But their whole goal here when going young was to put the blame on Damian. And quite frankly, it's kind of working for a portion of the fan base, at least. And now a lot of those people are groveling Dame to stay. But I do think this is all just, they thought they could win the PR battle if he was the one who requested out, and they knew their moves this summer, or lack of moves, would lead to that. I think that's going to be their goal, is blame Dame for wanting out, even though he said he would never leave, because Scoot's so great. How could he not want to play with Scoot, right? And then hope like heck this team is good and exciting, and the fans don't leave.
I mean, I'm just coming to the conclusion that it doesn't even matter what they think, because they have and will continue to run this team into the ground and be cheap. Like, it's the status quo. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're comparing this to how they think they would build a cricket team or a rugby team. Like, might as well just compare this to every freaking sport then. And like, oh, well, this rugby team, they got rid of this guy, got better, so let's trade Dame. I mean, it doesn't even matter how ridiculous it gets at this point, because what they've actively done is been cheap and ran Dame out of town. And all that matters is, when the hell will Jody Allen sell the team? Or is there anything that could happen to get Adam Silver to force her to sell the team? That's the only way I will fully move on from how we've done Dame. And what's funny about that tweet is it might be a situation where that's the only way Dame could move on and continue to be a part of the team, is if it was sold as well. So it seems like Dame's in the same boat as us. Not to just read too much into a tweet, but this tweet explicitly said, please sell the team to Phil Knight, and he liked it. So Dame doesn't just like everything and not read it. I mean, and I just think this whole situation, it's very obvious that Dame is mad, because I think if they were transparent with him and didn't mislead him, I don't think it would be a Miami or bust thing. That almost feels personal to me. It almost feels it just doesn't seem like what Dame would do. He's cool with Mikal Bridges, gets to go to Brooklyn. He could maybe make them a dark horse, right? Depending on what they traded. There's other contending teams, but for him to just straight up come out and force his way to one specific team and have all this messaging from his agent, it seems like there's something personal, and Dame's trying to essentially screw over the front office and ownership in a way.
It's not necessarily that spin on it, but he is exercising all his power, because that was the final promise given to Dame, that if they did ever choose to go in a new direction, they would let him pick his team. And so Dame now they start saying, oh, we're going to field offers from other teams or whatever. So now Dame's like, oh, great. One more promise you're not going to break. Watch this. Right. So like not only did we push him out, but now we're not even going to let him choose his team like we've been telling him for years. Like that's just crap. So Dame, I mean, it sucks, if we don't get full value for him, but absolutely, if I'm in Dame's position, I'm saying, screw you, Jody, screw you, Joe. I'm forcing my way to Miami, and if you don't get good package, that's not my fault because I didn't want to even leave Portland. I wanted to be here with a winning team in Portland. I brought you trade scenarios of guys who wanted to be here, and you didn't even want to bother calling on them. And he feels like he's owed and earned the right. And Joe's even said he's earned the right to pick his team at this point, and I can't blame him one bit for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke. Shout out to Mukhtar20, almost said his Twitter name, with a $5 dono, says, you guys have a voice. People love you guys. We should legit get thousands in front of the Moda Center with signs for Jody to sell the team for Dame. If you guys want to do that, be my guest. Sell the team chance in Moda is what I want to hear. Okay? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear sell the team chance.
I think by the time the season happens, it'll be too late, though. I mean, it won't be too late for Scoot and Sharp in the future, but it'll be too late for the Dame.
I mean, it's not going to do anything. Here's what I would say about this stuff. They don't care. If they don't care about what Dame thinks, like, why would they care what the fans think? Like, they just absolutely do not care, So that's why it's like, people say this, and, I mean, Jody Allen's just unfortunately not going to see a petition or a bunch of signs to be like, oh, man, they really want me to sell? Oh, okay, I'll sell. Because she already knows the fans really want to sell. Look at this poll. Well, 262 votes. 96% of votes say they want Jody Allen to sell the Blazers. And I assume the 4% that said no are fans of other teams. So, which I can't blame them. I can't blame them because we do have fans of other teams that watch us. So, I mean, she's gonna sell when she's ready. Who knows when that is? Who knows what she needs? Who knows what the statute of limitations are? But I do know at this point that the only reason why she wants the team is to make money off the team.
Yeah.
She wants the team so she can make money off of it, and she doesn't care what the entire fan base thinks. She just wants to make money off that entire fan base. That's why I might go to a game to see Scoop, but like I really don't want to spend money on this freaking team because I feel like a sucker doing it. Because she doesn't care about what I think. She just wants my dollars. No matter how frustrated or upset I am, she just wants me to just ignore all the transgressions from this ownership group and front office and still just shell out money to her. That feels wrong to me, to spend money on this team. It should never feel wrong as a fan of a team to spend money on that team. But, I mean, it's like, sure, it's going to a billionaire no matter what sport you're in, right? But dang, man, at least do right by the fan base and I can feel comfortable paying for things, going to games, that sort of thing. I don't even feel comfortable with that.
Yeah. Well, okay, there's two things here. One, it's well within Jody's right as the de facto owner to treat it like a business. Lots of small market teams. So that's not a reason to force a sale or whatever. Like, I mean, there's some complicated stuff with the trust that we don't know all the specifics of, and we don't know how much Adam Silver is willing to use his power to oust someone that's not a permanent owner. So that does factor in, but we can't just make her sell the team because she's cheap. Otherwise, there wouldn't be enough owners in professional sports to own all the teams because there's plenty of these situations. The problem I have is the lying. Like, if they would have just told Dame like 2 years ago or whatever that this was going to be the case and that they weren't going to be willing to do the things that they needed to win, they could have just amicably traded him, and it could have been a mutual decision to where Dame wants to stay here, but the team obviously isn't willing to do that. So it sucks that we have to trade him, but at least you're upfront and honest with him. But to me, the worst part they did is try to lead Dame along and then try to make him look like the bad guy. And now the situation it is. Like, just be honest with Dame from the beginning, and I'm fine with the rebuild.
I mean, I actually still wouldn't be fine because it would be born out of their own cheapness.
Well, I'm not fine with it.
It's not as bad, but
yeah. I mean, like, I'd respect their decision. Let's say that. I'd respect it because they made a decision and were honest about it, but it'll never sit right with me that they led Dame on thinking they were going to and then didn't.
Honestly, I wouldn't even... Okay, I wouldn't even respect their decision. I would respect them being honest about it.
Yeah.
That decision would still be born out of their own cheapness. And not willing to step up and take a swing for Dame. Partly due to money reasons. Partly due because of their priorities. People say it's a business, Well, there's a lot of other teams that are willing to pay the tax to try and put the best product on the floor. And guess what? A lot of times that's a good business decision because you're able to make more off tickets. You're able to make more off merch. You're able to bring more eyeballs to your product, right? Like, it's not like every dime you spend on the team is just gone out the window and you're not recouping it some other way. Mm-hmm. So, like, I hate that narrative. I hate that some people seem to think that's how it works. No, if you're able to charge more for tickets and fill out arenas, that's a lot of money you're making.
The playoff runs is a lot of home games, so people get excited, buy lots of merchandise.
Exactly. So, I mean, I even if they did do it that way, I'd respect that they were at least honest, but it still would have been a decision born out of cheapness. I mean, it's just, that's the problem, is not only are they cheap and... don't have the right priorities as owners of a team, in my opinion, but they also lie and are misleading. So, it sucks. It friggin' sucks. I mean, it's just, I hope by the time that Scoot and Sharp get paid, Eric, I hope that we have new ownership.
The whole front office is gone, yeah.
Yeah, I hope that in my lifetime I will never have this much disdain for another Blazers owner. But it's just like, this isn't what Paul would have wanted. Like, I don't think this is how Paul would have gone about things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the way they've gone about things, I don't think honors Paul well. The only reason they own the team is because, Jody is Paul's sister, and then Burt Cold was Paul's best friend, and, put in charge of stuff, right? They've already milked that connection with this team. And they're not doing his, I don't know, it just feels dirty to me the way that they've ran this team in a way that was completely opposite to how Paul ran this team.
But he loves the draft. He would have loved Scoot.
It's just gross to me, man. It's just gross to me. Like, so, there's a lot of reasons to be pissed off at this ownership group, not only as a fan, but also as a player, which Dame seems to be. So, honestly, Eric, when they sell the team, it might outdo, we weren't big Stotts fans. If you're new to the channel, we weren't big Stotts fans. So when Stotts got let go, we were pretty happy about it. Now, that didn't mean that the next coach was guaranteed to be good, because Chauncey's really struggled, but we thought we wanted something different. So that was a fun stream, right? We were pretty happy about that. When Jody sells the team, I think that stream will be even happier. Because everything starts at the top. Truly.
Yep. Yeah, Eric Olson mentions that Jody chastised her brother for spending. That was one of the things that you heard for years prior to Paul passing away, was that Jody always gave him crap about having a hobby that he wasted millions of dollars on, trying to win instead of treating it like a business.
It's his money.
I don't know.
Like, that makes me dislike her even more somehow. I didn't know it was even possible. I despise her. Like, She doesn't want to have it as a hobby. Okay, sell the freaking team.
Alex Wolf's coming out to party with us if she sells.
Is there any hope?
I don't know, man. I mean, the hope is the only hope we have is that the trust, either she's been lying about that too, and it's really coming up soon, and she's just trying to improve the value of it before she has to sell, or Silver uses his power to step in and make the team sell.
I mean, my hope would be Dame would go to Silver.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's still unclear when that exact date is, so.
I mean, I think we might have the worst approval rating from our fan base for our owner of any team in the NBA. Because that's the one thing this fan base can agree on. I think if you did another poll like that, 95% of the people would disapprove and want her to sell the team.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Maybe the Knicks, but I mean the Knicks are doing good right now. I mean,
Crushwell said, would Silver ever step in though? He seems soft and too nice. I mean, he has stepped in. I mean, he can't force. I mean, he did force Donald Sterling to sell, but like Robert Sarver, he punished and basically made him sell, but he couldn't. He didn't have the power to actually make him sell, and thankfully the court of public opinion made him sell. But short of a scandal like those two had, it's just tough to see it. But those two situations give you hope because, you know, Ballmer buys the Clippers and Ishbia buys the Suns, and look how much they've been trying to win since. It hasn't worked out so far, but Ishbia's only been there, 6 months or something. But like, you just applaud their efforts, and yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna read off some.
Yeah, we got some donuts, also some interesting comments. Shout out to Dro with a $5 Drono. Says, chat, Tori Eric, how much Dame merch do you guys have? I have way too much for him to leave. I will not buy a single Blazers item. This is despicable. Thank you, Dro, for the $5 Drono. Honestly, I don't have a ton of merch. I never bought a lot of merch.
I only have one Dame All-Star jersey that I won in a contest.
Yeah, and I lost some clothes. Long story. Long story. I had to borrow a car for a couple days, and I have to do laundry somewhere else, so I put laundry in it, and then forgot to take it out because I didn't end up going to do it, and then I had another relative borrow that same car, and then apparently he was told to take everything in it to Goodwill. Yeah, so I had a lot of my laundry accidentally donated to Goodwill, like week and a half ago. It sucked. So I don't really have a problem of having too much of any clothes at all. So, able to buy some new one. In case you guys have noticed new shirts, like, I don't know if I've ever worn this color before, but yeah, it sucked. It was rough. It freaking sucked. So no, Dro, I do not have that problem, but thank you for the $5 Durono. Umar, the problem is there wasn't old clothes, it was mine. It was just my clothes. Shout out to Brian Ravenel, $5 dono. Says, what if fans stop buying tickets until she sells the team? I mean, maybe that's one way to do it, but the problem is there's gonna be all the people like, we should be celebrating everything because Scoot is awesome.
I think all the season ticket holders should get together and sue them for not allowing them out of the contract when they... Tori, it was their own... They sent emails to people, season ticket holders, saying...
They're not letting them out.
We're going to use the third pick to build around Dame, or, we're committed to winning around Dame. And this whole time they haven't been, like to me. And then they're not letting people out of their season tickets. I've heard from several people now, after telling my story about my mom the other day. So yeah, you can put a 1 month pause on your payments to until the Dame situation is solved, but they're not refunding anyone's tickets. In fact, let me read you off what someone messaged me that they told them. Let me just bring this up here.
Kyle Neely in chat says they wouldn't refund my season tickets. Instead, they are holding my money ransom, and it can only be used for more tickets.
Yeah, that's who I heard from. Yeah, he said that that they would give him credit to future tickets for his season tickets that he's paid for, because you can make a payment plan to pay for the upcoming season. So many people have already made several payments this year already. 7 months worth of payments for next year. Yeah, they said that the only thing they would be willing to do is give them credit to future tickets.
Well, if you guys needed any more proof that they truly don't give a fuck about you and they want to milk you for every freaking penny you have, there it is. That's why I feel gross spending money on this freaking team. Not surprising, but also that seems very illegal.
Yeah, it does. That's why I'm saying you guys should get together and sue.
Yes. Yes. Make it a story. Make it a story, okay? Get your money back. Like, the product changed from when you bought it. Mm-hmm. And for them to not allow a refund is ridiculous. Yeah, I think you got a case there. At the very least, it's a story. And it could put pressure on them to just let you out of your season tickets. Because that's freaking ridiculous, man. That's so shameful. That's so shameful. I'm so ashamed of this organization.
Starcadian says that the tickets state no refunds. We're really threatening lawyers. Come on. Well, like I said, it's completely different if you are sending out emails to season ticket holders telling them how you're going to build the winner around Dame. Get excited about this upcoming season. We're going to put the pieces around Dame to contend for a title, and then basically don't want Dame here anymore. And basically force
do
him out.
Nothing to do that. Yeah, it's false advertisement.
Yep.
It's deceiving. Chris S. says obtaining money by deception is fraud. There's definitely a case. I don't know if you would be able to win anything, but there's definitely a case that could probably be heard based on that premise. So...
yeah, like DJ Vega says, they'll say Dame's the one that asked out, not...
they actively did nothing. They literally didn't do anything to build around Dame. So, that's the thing, is, you probably can't win money, but I think you could maybe make it a story at the very least. And if it's a story, maybe they just give you a refund instead of dealing with the backlash. Mm-hmm. And you have that statement that they sent out to season ticket holders. I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous. This organization doesn't care about the fans whatsoever.
Nope.
So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Phil Knight would want to win a championship, right? That would be... he's not owning the team to make money at this point, right? If he buys the team. He's going to come in with... maybe not Matt Ishbia-like, but he's going to, before he dies, cement his legacy in Portland with a championship and that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
I wish I knew how to get season ticket holders together on this. I mean, we have a platform. We could probably put some of you in touch. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have something for that. Shout out to Bouquet's $5 dono. Said, like someone else said, having a public event would be worth it just to show Dame the fans care. Let's do something. Yeah, but I mean, if he's in Miami, doesn't matter at that point, you know? Thank you for the $5 dono. I mean, if you made it happen now, sure, but it's a lot to organize. Shout out to Carlton Pagano Jackson, $20 donut. Says, what's up, guys? This reminds me of my Commanders getting Dan Snyder to sell after 30 years, man. We finally got it, and I'm 30 LMAO, but we had dirt on Dan, and it still took this long. Yeah, Dan Snyder was freaking awful, man. I'm happy for you guys getting him out of there.
He just, was that yesterday? He's releasing info now on the NFL and stuff, and the NFL's having to deny it. But, yeah. We'll see what comes of it. But that's what they were always scared that Dan Snyder had stuff on other owners and things that could force them out as well, and that he would release it if he ever got fired. So we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah,
or not fired, but forced to sell.
That'll be very interesting. Shout out Kyle Wilson, $5 donut. Says, we need to expose Jody as a massive racist so Silver forces her out. Although, didn't she get accused of sexually assaulting some dudes? I mean, I don't like making up that people are racist no matter what. Like, I don't like.
You should know that from experience, Kyle.
Yeah, yeah. You don't make that up, because it trivializes it. Like, but I mean, she has some stuff in her past that is shady. Oh, sorry, my phone is not completely off. So.
Yeah, I think the only route the NBA has is the trust thing. If that's true, that they can force out someone with a trust because they're not a permanent owner. I don't know if they are open to that or not. I have no inside information in terms of the league offices, whether they even want to go down that road or not, or if they know when the sell date is. Maybe it's soon, so they don't feel like they need to push it right now. But I mean, let's be real here, though. Dame going to Miami is good for the NBA. It sucks for us, but I don't think nationally or the NBA front offices think it's necessarily bad, as bad as it is for us fans.
Yep. Anyway, thank you for the donos. Thank you for the likes. We just hit 100. Hit that like button.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we'll continue to find ways to rant about this front office because they will continuously give us reasons. But yeah, I would love to see some season ticket holders get together and figure something out in that regard, because that's shady that they will not give you a refund after you bought season tickets on false pretenses. Just proves exactly what I was telling you guys, that this ownership does not care one lick about the fan base or about the team. It's about pinching pennies and making as many pennies as possible. So I'll take my pennies somewhere else. Still watch the team, but luckily, in order to watch the team and run a stream about the team, I don't have to pay the team. So that's what it's going to be. Luckily, that should mean fewer streams that are, 30 minutes late going live, because I won't have to be driving home from Moda Center. So, anyway, let's move on, Eric, unless there's anything else you want to touch upon regarding ownership.
Not really. Screw Jody.
All right. So, Blazers have played 2 Summer League games since we've talked to you guys last. We streamed Monday, and then were unable to stream Tuesday or Thursday. So, we've had 2 Summer League games happen. In the first one, Scoot hasn't played neither. Scoot's done for Summer League, unfortunately. Just like Shaden Sharp happened last offseason, shoulder injury in Game 1, misses the rest of Summer League. So, we're just cursed. Hopefully next year, whoever we draft in the lottery will be able to make it through one summer league game.
Or should we just sit them out on so they don't get hurt?
Yeah, or that. I mean, luckily, Shaden was ready to start the season, and Scoot will be ready to start the season. So, it doesn't seem as serious with Scoot as it was with Shaden, and Shaden was ready to go.
Yeah.
But speaking of Shaden, in Tuesday's game, kind of broke out, had a big-time fourth quarter, hit a clutch 3 down the stretch, had a couple really nice dunks in that game, including one where he shook Kai Jones out of his shoes on an in-and-out and threw down a 2-handed dunk. Today wasn't quite so good for Sharp. I'm pulling up the box score right now.
They benched him at halftime.
Okay, they benched him at halftime.
Pulled him, I should say.
Yeah. So in 13 minutes, he was a plus 13, 12 points in 13 minutes, 4 for 10 from the field, got to the line 4 times, made 3 free throws, had a couple of assists, couple of turnovers as well. So only played 13 minutes, as you said, benched him, pulled him. Bench isn't the right word because it was basically he's too good. He might not play the next game either. That might have been the last we've seen of him.
He did get benched at one point during the first half when he missed or he fell asleep 3 straight times on defense and led to baskets. But they did. The coaches were not happy with him after that sequence. But yeah, I think they pulled him because they've accomplished everything they wanted to accomplish. They were up big. They're probably not going to make the final 4 semifinal teams because their differential isn't good enough unless they get a lot of help tomorrow. So, yeah, I think they're just done with him playing.
Yeah, so as far as that, there's 2 things. Like, one, maybe he's fallen asleep because of Summer League.
Right.
But on the other side of things, I don't like how everybody assumes he's going to be a good defender because he will be the biggest starting shooting guard we've had in over a decade, since Wesley Matthews, I guess. He's not guaranteed to be good just because he's taller and lengthier. And that misconception just seems to have started to run rampant because we've always been undersized. So it seems like people think, as long as we get length, we'll be better defensively. Which length can help, but length doesn't help when you're falling asleep off the ball. Length doesn't help much when you're playing off the ball. Yeah. It'll help when you contest shots and try and play the passing lanes and whatnot, but there's a lot of technique stuff that goes into it. There's a lot of awareness, IQ stuff that goes into it. And it seems like a lot of people think that the Scoot Sharp backcourt will be better than any Dame backcourt because they'll be less undersized. They'll be able to play defense. I've heard it all regarding that. Sharp has some work to do on the defensive end. And I'm not going to hold... I'm not holding Summer League against him or whatever because it is Summer League, but that is something I'm watching for this year is, will he be better off the ball? Will he be more locked in? Will he play with more effort on that end? Because I think at times last year that waned, but maybe it was a conditioning thing. First time at that level. First time at any level above high school. I'm not sure.
Andrew both. Good thing we have a great coaching staff to do some things. Oh, man. Oh, thanks for the laugh.
Yeah, so we're screwed, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Sharp?
Well, in his defense, too, that was a theme tonight, even though they played, Orlando couldn't score, but there was a time.
How'd they hold him
down? There was several plays where they just fell asleep and got backdoor cut on. But they had a lot of steals and stuff in the front, like near half court or near the top of the key. So it didn't always come down to that.
Yeah. Who else do you want to talk about, or do you want to talk about Sharp a little bit more? We'll kind of just go player by player.
Yeah,
last couple games, I guess.
But yeah, Sharp had a great fourth quarter, but outside of the fourth quarter last game, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I've been particularly impressed, but I have said this before. My whole thing is, okay, now you saw what you were struggling with in these summer league games. You have 2 months now till training camp. are you going to go in the lab and work on these things, clean up your dribbling, improve your defensive awareness, watch film like that, and then come back into training camp ready to go? Or is this something where you're just going to think you're fine because you scored a lot of points and don't really try to fix those things? So I'm really I don't know what the right word is. I'm not like nervous about it. I just really hope we see Sharp learn from this experience and use that as motivation the rest of the summer.
Yeah. You basically hit everything on the head. Chris Murray had a good third game. In today's game, close the box score. Why did I do that? In today's game, he was 4 for 14, though, 1 for 7 from 3. He's kind of struggled shooting the 3 ball in the Summer League so far.
He got up a lot of shots today, but yeah, unfortunately his 3 ball wasn't flying. He has 2 like terrible turnovers too, where he just like, it was like our turnovers from last year's Blazer season where we just like are dribbling up top and lose the ball to someone.
And that's why I hate that Crota was like, he's not a normal rookie. He's almost 23. He's like a veteran rookie or whatever he said. Like, he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
He's still going to have mistakes like that. I'm just curious what he is as a shooter. Because, like, I know he took a lot of tough shots last year at Iowa and shot 33%. The year before, he's like 39%. Right, like Keegan was a good shooter in the league, but I'm just not 100% sold on him coming in and being an above-average three-point shooter. And, I mean, you're not really going to be able to determine that off Summer League, but his shot has been shaky in Summer League as well, so... That's going to be one of the more interesting things about next season is Chris Murray hitting threes or not. Because if he's not, man, I don't know if he's a rotation player if he's not a decent three-point shooter. Like, the thing is to me, he's just like one of those guys, he's solid in a lot of areas, but like he needs to knock down threes in order to be good enough to play in a rotation on a team trying to win games, which I guess we're not a team trying to win games next year, so it doesn't matter. But
he did force a lot tonight, I felt like, but he gets them off quick at least. He can pretty much get his shot off over or in tight windows and stuff like that. But that's the same thing we've talked about with Jabari Walker, who we'll talk about in a second. But that was the case all last year, both in Summer League and into the regular season, was if you're going to find minutes and become a rotation player, I think you got to knock down those open threes if you get them.
And here's what's funny, is I just thought of it like, oh, well, maybe he'll get better shots during the season when he's playing next to better players, but that's not necessarily going to be the case that he's playing next to better players. Because he's going to be playing next to Scoot and Sharp, and I guess he'll play next to Ant and Grant and maybe Dirk. But it's not so much the case anymore where, like, he'll have better players next to him. He'll have, so-and-so will be able to get better shots because you got Dame and all his gravity. Obviously, Scoot's a good passer. It's just kind of interesting because a lot of the narratives that were true because we had Damian Lillard and we're just so used to them because we've had Damian Lillard for so long aren't necessarily true anymore. And I just kind of came to that realization. And it's strange.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You want to talk about Jabari?
Yeah, I think Jabari's been really solid. Dude, he's a rebounding monster. He had some rebounds in the game tonight that just were crazy good. It's weird seeing someone like, how a lot of times a shot would go up and you could just see how the players were positioned last year, and you just knew that they were going to miss the offensive rebound, and you could see someone like a mile away coming in to get it. Like that seemed like it was going to happen a few times tonight, and he just like rose up out of nowhere and did a nice box out or got a rebound in traffic, and Yeah, I think that's definitely an elite skill that that will let him stick around the NBA for a while. Still a little awkward finishing sometimes around the hoop, but had some nice finishes today, but then also some bad finishes, or got blocked a lot. So yeah, it'll just continue to try and work on angles and finishing a little better. And same thing with Chris Murray, just gotta hit the 3-point shot better than he did last year.
Yeah, and I think he's learning how to slow down and use his body a little bit more on drives. It's not a situation where he has to beat anybody off the dribble, and honestly, no offense to him, he's not really a guy who's going to beat a lot of guys with his quickness off the dribble, so it's more so about just being able to get into the paint, shield the ball with his body, little, like, running baby hooks, floaters, that sort of stuff, is where his finishes are going to be, or little mid-range fadeaways. He shot a couple of those in Summer League, so I think him figuring that part out is going to be key for his game if he's ever going to be anything more than just a three-point shooter offensively. But then also the three-point shot's very important as well, and we've seen some positive flashes. Was 0 for 2 today from 3, so it's hard to say where he's at as a shooter, but coming into the league, he was billed as a guy that'd be able to knock down threes, and that didn't really happen last year. So hopefully we'll see progress.
Yeah. Well, so obviously without Scoot, and Sharp gets taken out at halftime, we didn't have like a lot of creators. I mean, DeVoe kind of is, but you know, like he wasn't. I mean, he had a pretty good game, but there were times where we needed someone to drive, and there was multiple times where Jabari caught the ball at the top of the key, drove down, got by his guy, and then it was like 50-50 from there. Sometimes the help would come and he wouldn't recognize it. He would have someone wide open and he'd shoot anyway, got blocked. But then other times he had really nice tempo to his movements and got right to the rim or stopped and kind of it wasn't really a floater. It's more like a 3 or 4 foot jump shot. But like he had several of those plays tonight where he actually created something out of nothing, where he just dribbled the ball and beat his man off the dribble and made a basket. So that's promising to see if he can do that. And now who knows if he'll be able to do that at NBA level competition against
NBA
not just Summer League, but he definitely.
I think the speed last year. I think the speed last year bothered him a little bit, which you expect in a rookie. But I felt like it was more so with him, just everybody on the court pretty much being quicker than him, and there's ways to work around it and be fine. I mean, just look at Kyle Anderson. The dude's the slowest player in the league, probably slower than Rudy Gobert, who he also hates, by the way.
That's a good comparison because that he had some very Kyle Anderson-esque moves tonight.
Yeah, so that's where it's like I think he's kind of figuring that out, and that's where I'm curious to see where the evolution is. But, I mean, with him on the roster, that's also why I'm not a big fan of the Chris Murray pick. Mm-hmm. Just as a side note, like, they're just similar to me. They're just similar, and I don't know. I don't really know where there's a huge difference, and that's where when they drafted Chris Murray, it just said to me they're not super confident in Jabari Walker, which makes sense because he was the second to last pick of the draft last year. But
maybe they think they can play together. That the 3 and the 4, like one of them could maybe be quick enough to play some 3. I don't know.
I don't. I mean, maybe they are thinking that, but I don't think either of them should be playing.
Chris moves his feet really well on defense. He can probably get away with it against some threes.
That's the thing, though, is when drafting forwards, I always tend to want to draft a forward who's at least, like, a really, really good defensive player, like better than Jabari Walker or Chris Murray. So a guy like an Omax Prosper in my mind. Mm-hmm. Or somebody that has creation upside and some fluidity. Right? And I thought like Leonard Miller had some legitimate creation upside.
Yeah.
And I just never have been a fan of the types of 4s that don't have legitimate upside in either one of those areas, in my opinion. And that's kind of like Chris Murray and Jabari Walker kind of fit into that fold.
Yeah, they're both good rebounders. They both can put the ball on the floor a little bit. Should hopefully be decent 3-point shooters. I kind of get it, but yeah, I see both sides of it.
I just think long term, you're only going to need one of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah.
Jabari Walker, it would be different if they drafted Jabari Walker in the first round. Like, they drafted him second to last pick of the draft, so it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really a criticism necessarily. It's just, I just don't see them both fitting into a rotation 3 years down the line. So I think it's actually kind of a battle between those two.
Right. Yeah, I think, hold on a sec.
Shout out David Coots, our $2 donor, says, you think there's a chance Dame doesn't get traded? I think it's between 0 and 1%.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how small you want to go with the decimal there, but...
So, what I was going to say is, Jabari in particular, now Chris won't have this issue if Dame's not on the team because he wasn't here last year, but I think a lot of Jabari's problems last year were when you are a second-round rookie and you're getting minutes on a team that's trying to win, at least early in the season. I think the pressure is to like not mess up, right? And that can mess with your head when you're shooting a three or doing things on the court. So maybe because tonight especially, and I mean he's been doing this all summer league pretty much, but he played more like he played at Colorado than he did last year, and so hopefully the freeing him up, like that might be one positive about rebuilding, is guys like that could get more comfortable in more minutes and be a little more themselves than not being in that role where it's just like, okay, if you're open, you better hit this three or whatever, you know?
Yeah, that just becomes a question of can how he played in college translate someday to the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, with him and Chris Murray, I'm just not sure how much it can translate the way they've been able to score in college. So it'll be fascinating to compare the two. I compared the two in the Chris Murray drafted video because I think it'll be a comparison that we have for a while and that we pay attention to for a while. So.
Yeah.
Anyone else specifically you want to talk about? Baji?
Baji, I've been, because, all right, all last year, right, we talked about, or we got comments in chat every freaking game, right?
Yeah.
They should play Baji. Why isn't Baji playing? You guys know I'm like a huge Baji fan, but I tried to tell you he's not ready for NBA competition yet. He's several years away from being that. You could tell too he's very used to playing zone because I mean he probably should have gotten called for like 20 defensive 3 seconds tonight, but he was just like camping in the key. But he had some like really bad mistakes tonight, but he also had some really good early in the game. He had a nice lob dunk. He had a nice putback off a rebound. I think his jumper is something that could be extended out to 3-point range eventually. I think he had some nice blocks tonight, but he also has some bad defensive possessions where he doesn't know how to position his body. So he's still learning. I'm not like down on him. I think he's shown some flashes, but I think he's like the perfect big to have down with the remix all year and just let him play and let him or try to keep coaching him up on how to, because I think he has the physical tools to be an opposing defender and a rim protector. It's just he hasn't been playing long enough and doesn't understand the game quite yet to do that.
Yeah, he's a project big.
Yeah.
He's a project big, I mean, there's a guy who's been playing really well in Summer League that I wish we took a chance on last year, but man, And it's too bad that he can't be included in a potential Dame trade.
Orlando Robinson.
Dude.
Yeah.
20
we
in 3 games.
Yeah.
25 points per game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah.
Shooting 55% from the field, 33% from 3, but he's shooting 4 a game.
Yeah.
He's shooting 7 free throws a game, 82%. He can play. He's skilled. The problem is like defense, but if you want a backup center that can just come in and be a problem offensively, I did not understand how he went undrafted last year, and he's just another one of those guys where it's like, man, I wish we did a better job finding those diamonds in the rough. Because almost every year, like after the draft, there's like 2 guys that I would try and sign on 2 ways, and one of them ends up becoming an NBA rotation player. Is how it seems at this point. And I think he's the next one. I said Naz Reid 2.0 in terms of an undrafted big with that level of skill. Now, they're not completely the same player, but so that when Miami signed him, it's like, oh, of course Miami signed him. He's going to be their next undrafted case where they then get overpaid by another team like Max Strus did, but wish we had Orlando Robinson.
The hope is now that they've obviously dropped the charade, even though they're still trying to win, the hope is that, you take chances on some of those guys. But so far, they just brought back Baji and John Butler and cut Watford. So
I just don't know why you'd take John Butler on a 2-way over him. I mean, maybe he took Miami's offer anyway, so yeah. Maybe you'd have had to give him a roster spot, but he and Barlow were 2 guys that I thought you could have put on roster spots, and Barlow's had some decent minutes.
Yeah.
And he was looked at as a project.
I don't think Butler even played tonight. I don't remember him playing.
Huh.
Which is weird.
Yeah, let me look at Barlow's stats. Yeah, Barlow's averaging 16 a game.
Yeah.
Not shooting threes, but 61% from 2.
Yeah. Uprise was pretty solid again today. I think he's a little too big-ish, like a mobile big, to be like a quality NBA center, but I feel like he has a good feel for the game. Is tough on the offensive glass, has some shifty moves to him, can shoot a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the remix too, him and Baji down there as well.
Yep. We'll be paying attention to the G League team this year, guys. We'll have you covered.
And the player everyone's dying to talk about, Kai Soto, got in the game, Tori.
Yeah, 13 minutes. He was 3 for 7.
And the 30
and
fans in attendance went nuts.
Was it really that empty today?
No, it wasn't that bad. It's just like compared to early on in Summer League where there were sellouts, it looked very empty, yeah. And plus, Orlando didn't play anyone.
Tiger Campbell.
Yeah. Anthony Black and Jet Howard set up.
Weatherspoon.
Yeah. He was like their vet, yeah.
Yeah. And then good old DJ Wilson, man.
Yeah.
Did not pan out like I thought he would.
Is a new title really necessary?
Shut up, ESPN. No, a new title was necessary.
Kai actually did a few things. He had a jumper, a dunk, a vicious block. I forgot who he blocked, but he did look slow, but
I think he's just too slow to defend at the NBA level, and he's not good enough offensively. He's not an Orlando Robinson.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Finished with 3 blocks.
We should sign him to Remix. I don't know if Kai Soto still gets views, like crazy views, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might have to do like a video every 10 days or so just on the Remix. That if you guys wanted it next year. The content's right now, it looks like there's going to be a lot more content next season than ever. And there's some reasons for that, so good reasons. So maybe that's something I'll have to throw in there for you guys. Damn, Tori just destroyed that ad. LMAO. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
I was going to segue it into an ad.
Oh.
That comment. I was going to segue it. So Manta sent me a sound mask. You know, I've been talking about how I wanted to get a sound mask, right? So they sent me this. It has Bluetooth speakers on it, Eric. It's been a while since I put one of these on stream, but so this is how you activate it. It's Bluetooth, right? These blue things are speakers that you can adjust. It's kind of weird with a hat on it, but dude, it's so nice to just like go to sleep listening to rain. Of course I listen to rain, being from the Pacific Northwest, right? That's what we have to fall asleep to. If you live in the desert, I don't know what you fall asleep to. Vulture sounds or something.
Yeah.
You know, tumbleweeds rolling. I don't know. But up here, it's been so nice to like relax falling asleep to the sound of rainforest, water hitting the leaves. So that's actually been something that I've been enjoying using, and you guys can get yourself a Manta sleep mask. They have different kinds. This is the sound mask. It also comes with cooling cups and aromatherapy that I need to try because they also included that. They hooked it up. So if you want to get yourself a good sleep mask, get yourself a good night's sleep, fall asleep to, you know, you can do some guided meditation with this stuff. That's what I need to try next because I need to get back into meditating. But really good product, really good company. Definitely check them out. There's a link in the description box below. If you use the promo code Uprise, you get a 10% discount. So check them out. Thank you to Manta Sleep for being a channel sponsor.
I like listening to rain and like the ocean sounds and stuff like that, but I prefer sports talk radio because then it keeps my mind off of wandering on other stuff and I can just think about what they're talking about until I fall asleep.
Yeah, see, you can fall asleep with that too. Just anything you can play on your phone, any audio, YouTube, you can play us and put on your Manta sleep mask and shut off the world and just hear our voices in a void of darkness. I mean, that sounds absolutely amazing. So you guys should definitely buy one. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to Manta. What do you fall asleep to, chat? Binaural beats?
Several people says us, which is
other than
fine.
us. I know I put you to sleep.
We don't think of that as an insult. We appreciate it. And then you finish the stream in the morning, right?
And then once people start falling asleep, you need to start whispering in their ear. Maybe influence their dreams. I wonder if people fall asleep to us and have a dream because they fell asleep to us. I don't know. We're getting too deep and weird here. Anyway.
I don't sleep that much, though, Chris. I'm horrible at sleeping.
Yeah, you suck at sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm the best at sleeping. I'm the best at sleeping and staying standing on my feet when I get hit by a car. Shout out to that inside joke. Anyway, anything else you want us to talk about, chat? We'll do 5 minutes of Q&A, or we'll give you life advice if you really, really need it. We're not licensed therapists, you know, we're just YouTubers, but maybe we can help you out. I fall asleep when the phone falls on my face.
Someone I do want to talk about. I'm fine if he's on the remix, but I don't think Nate Williams could be on the team next year.
Really?
He's a hustle wing, but he doesn't really do much, you know?
Yeah, I've never really taken his spot on the roster seriously.
Yeah. I just don't. I mean, he seems like every other wing that has issues shooting and is trying to, you know, make the league by playing hard or whatever.
Yeah. I'm glad they finally played Malachi Smith.
He's been bad.
He's only played 7 minutes.
I mean, like, he can't get a shot. Like, he's not quick enough to get it. He's okay defensively, but yeah, he's really struggling to make anything happen on offense. He's not a
shot creator. He's just a guy who will knock down threes if he gets ran off the line, solid floater. Like, that's about it. And then can be an okay defensive piece. Like, he's not going to wow you. But that is closer to an NBA role than all these summer league guards that come in here and score. And it's like if they try and do the same thing in the NBA, they're shooting 35%, and that's literally the only thing they can do.
Yeah.
But we signed him on an Exhibit 10. So, like, why did we sign him on an Exhibit 10 just to not even see him play?
Nate?
No, Malachi Smith.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. That bothers me.
Maybe.
Yes,
Maybe they see he's just not that good in practice or something.
I guess, but I mean, you should have had him in for a workout. What, did he just overachieve in the workout? Like, I don't get it.
I think if we're gonna keep a wing, I think Justin Minaya he's got all that hustle, but like it actually like shows up, you know, like he does stuff. I think he's a little undersized for a forward, but I think. I mean, I wouldn't mind any of these guys being on the remix. Obviously, we need players, but I find it hard to believe any of them are going to be on the actual team.
Yep. Shout out to, this is a guy we forgot about. Shout out JP Savvy with the €2 dono. Says, yo, thoughts on Repair today? Have a good one. Thank you, JP.
Yep.
Short, sweet, to the point. So, Repair, 32 minutes today, 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 2 for 3 from the free throw line. Had 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 points, 3 turnovers. Plus 24, though. If he gets minutes, Eric, I think he's going to be the most improved player from the start of the season till the end of the season. He's just raw offensively. Yeah. Like, you just want him to play defense. 12 rebounds today is pretty good in 32 minutes. Yeah. Like, try and make the right pass, right? Make the right play. And he's probably not going to shoot well. His percentages aren't going to wow you, but that's like where the upside lies in his game. So that's kind of how I'm viewing him. I think that if he gets regular minutes, though, he will develop more than anybody next season because I think he has a lot of natural and physical talent. I think he has a bit of a feel for handling the ball and making passes, and I think that if you give him enough of a leash, he'll be able to start to tap into that at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see the intrigue with him. So tonight he was his usual over-aggressive self at the top of the key, and it actually led to several steals and turnovers.
Yeah,
which was cool. And they were interviewing Scoot during it, and Scoot was getting hyped. And then he had several good rebounds. The problem is outside of like he picked someone clean and went down and dunked it, but the times where he got a rebound or a steal and tried to dribble up through traffic, it's still really rough. He had some really bad turnovers, just not aware of where to dribble or how to attack a defense. So still a lot of learning there, but you do like seeing someone with that size and length that can handle the ball the way he does. Just has to get a lot more cleaned up. I think his handles are probably worse than Sharp's right now. So he's just going to have to find a way to not make so many mistakes with the ball. But the rebounding and the potential on defense is definitely nice. And then his shot looks really, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but he wasn't coming. He shot a 3 tonight, maybe 2 threes, but it didn't look very, very close to going in.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this about his handle. Like, tape-wise, in the NBL, seemed like a guy that was a better ball handler than he's shown in Summer League. And I just think the game's moving too fast, which makes him uncomfortable handling the ball. Doesn't really know exactly what to do quick enough in order to do something offensively. And I just think it's going to take some time for the game to slow down. That's part of the reason why I expect him to improve more than anyone else on the roster next year if he gets a chance, if he gets the minutes to develop. Because I just think he needs time for the game to slow down for him. And I think as a comparative case, I don't know how this player played in last year's Summer League, but if you're thinking about long, lanky wings from the NBL, Eric, Ousmane Dieng did nothing last year for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. Has only played in 2 Summer League games, but looked impressive. Looked like the game has slowed down for him enough. Averaged 17 points, had averaged 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and now Ousmane Dieng is a better prospect than Repair. There's a reason why the Thunder traded 3 future firsts for him and took him in the lottery last year.
Yeah.
But there are some similarities, like Repair is just not quite to that level of prospect. And I think that's kind of what you're looking for. Is this year is a developmental year for Rupert, and then you hope that he comes in like Ousmane Dieng came in this summer league. You hope that next summer league Ryan Rupert just shows that improvement and is able to do some things offensively, and then that's just part of the developmental curve with a raw prospect like that.
Right. And yeah, Dieng barely played in the NBA last year. I know he was down in the G League and was hurt a while, but I don't know. I do think that Ousmane showed a decent amount more, and that's obviously why he was a lottery pick versus a second round pick. But you can see. I keep calling it intrigue because definitely if he figures out his shot and cleans up his dribble, I definitely see that Ousmane Dieng, Nicholas Batum type potential there. It's going to be a while, which is fine. It's totally fine.
We can have patience now.
We need players that would have patience with players now. So, we're done, I guess, with the needing players to come in right away and be good, and that's primarily why, even though I was super high on Chris Murray, why we were so disappointed with that pick is because I'd rather just swing on upside on every pick we make right now versus that. So I think but I mean, going for a half of last season, I mean, Rupert was mocked in the lottery for most of the season until he started to fall off and people fall in love with other players or whatever. But it's kind of interesting that his stock fell so much, whereas a lot of the NBL or players like Dyson Daniels, who didn't play in the NBL but came over and played in the G League, those kind of players all seem to have their stock rise towards the draft. So not really sure why that was the case with Rupert, but I definitely hope that he can turn out like some of those guys.
Yep. Anyway, chat, we're going to wrap up the stream. I got to go get some food before I starve to death. So I haven't eaten today, Eric. That's probably not smart. I ate one thing. Fasting diet. Let's go. On accident. Yeah. Accidentally on purpose fasting. But I am at a good weight. I'm just out of shape. Yeah. I'm just out of shape. Played some rec today. Eric did too. That's why we had no stream. So what's for dinner? I'm getting buy one, get one free boneless Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay. I don't like eating meat off the bone. I know half the chat is going to judge me for that, but I don't care. I think it's weird to eat meat off the bone. So I got to go pick that up.
I mean, it's not weird, but I also like boneless, but yeah.
I don't judge people if they like bone. I also like pineapple on pizza. I don't understand why that's such a bad thing to some people. I don't understand food debates, okay? But anyway.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Devin for reminding me it's Friday at McDonald's and there's free fries. Got nice. My free Slurpee the other day.
You get those. I get my buy one, get one boneless wings because, yeah, Buffalo's open until midnight where I'm at. So, anyway.
Robbie says, so you're getting chicken nuggets then?
No, I'm getting boneless buffalo wings, actually, Robbie. Anyway, any final thoughts, sir?
Thank you for watching. Appreciate you all. Hope Jody sells the team and Dame was happy and everything's good, but don't see that happening. I still think we ultimately trade him to Miami.
Yep. Thank you to BetOnline for sponsoring this episode of Blazers Uprise Live. Also, if you want to get yourself a Manta sleep mask, check out the link in the description box below. Shout out to them as well. You can fall asleep to us with some pitch blackness. Sounds amazing. Anyway, you guys are amazing. Thank you, chat, for all your support. We're out of here. We'll have another live stream for the 5th and final Summer League game, whenever that will be. Not sure yet, but we'll let you guys know. We'll have a stream for that sometime this weekend. So looking forward to that. And then, obviously, Blazers Uprise Live on Monday. Anyway.
And any news that happens trade-wise or if we actually sign a big free agent or something. which we're not going to do.
Yeah, you guys know the
a
deal.
Funny joke, Eric, but we'll go live if anything happens. So.
Yep. Anyway, we're out of here. We'll catch you this weekend. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.